I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Hi, I'm Luke Ryan for JoBlo.com and welcome to Top 5 Movie Mistakes. Whether it's the Terminator or whether it's Terminator 3,
talk to the hand.
In every movie, somewhere along the way, someone has screwed up. Previously, we covered a variety of Arnold Schwarzenegger movie mistakes on the show, along with a dedicated episode on Predator, so go check those out if you haven't already. But this time we're going to be looking at arguably one of the greatest action movies of all time, and just one of James Cameron's many masterpieces, Terminator 2: Judgment Day. Now, when I'm not trying to wrap my head around the fact that Dyson tinkering with that chip is the catalyst for Skynet becoming sentient, and without that chip from the future, which is technically now from the past at the end of the Terminator, it all doesn't happen, so who in the hell created that chip to begin with? I'm simply marveling at what a phenomenal film this really is, and when I'm not doing either of those things, I'm having fun spotting some of the movie mistakes, so let's count down 5 of them right now. Number 5. Throughout the film, the Terminator gets shot. Like, a lot. So it stands to reason that at a certain point, his trademark leather jacket is riddled with bullet holes, as John Connor notices when they arrive in Mexico. A few scenes later, when John and the Terminator realize that Sarah has gone to kill Miles Dyson, you can see that the bullet holes are no longer present on the back of his jacket. Now, you could argue that between these 2 points of the story, he'd had the jacket repaired, but A, you can't see any stitching to suggest as such, and B, why would he bother?
I'm a Terminator.
Number 4. Now this is kind of a legendary mistake, and I'm not 100% on it, but for years I've been aware of this interesting bit of business inside the Asylum when the Terminator rescues Sarah Connor. See if you spot what might be amiss with this scene.
Wait here.
Hurry up! Hurry up! Kill us all!
Okay, so, the first guard that Arnie takes out is black, and when he gets hurled into the window, yeah, now he's a white dude. People have talked about this for decades at this point, and even with the new remaster, it's hard to tell exactly, but it looks like a white stuntman to me, and that's just mental.
I have seen shit that'll turn you white.
Number 3. During the epic chase in the LA River, right after the truck crashes down to the surface, John Connor looks back as the T-1000 drives after him. If you look closely, reflected in the truck itself, you can see a lighting rig, and at the very end of the shot you can also make out a crew member. And that, viewers, is not the only crew member you'll be seeing in this video. But let's not leave this scene just yet, because it still has a few more things I'm going to point out. Number 2. When the truck lands on the concrete, both of the windshields fly off, very clearly. Now, not only are they back again seconds later when we see the T-1000 driving in a close-up, later on in the chase he forcibly knocks the windshield out again himself. Now, when James Cameron re-released Terminator 2 recently with a 4K remaster, he admitted that the only thing he changed with the film was that mistake, which had always bugged him.
There was one thing we did, which had always bothered me. When the tow truck hits the bottom of the drainage canal, the windshield falls out. And you can see it plain as day. And then in the next shot, it's still in the truck. So I told him to paint that out and fix the shield. But that's just for me, because it always bothered me. So full disclosure.
So if we take a look at the 4K version of the film, the windshields have now been very cleanly kept in place with CGI. But I think Cameron wasn't being entirely honest there, as there are actually a lot of mistakes fixed in the new version of the film. Let's look back to an old episode of Top 5 Movie Mistakes and see 2 of the mistakes I covered previously with Terminator 2. During the incredible chase sequence through the LA River, the Terminator rescues John Connor from being crushed by the T-1000. If you look really close though, and I've always noticed this one, right back to the VHS era, who is that? Is it Arnold Schwarzenegger or David Hasselhoff? I really can't tell, and if a glaringly obvious stunt double isn't enough for you, here's yet another mistake. During the final fight between the Terminator and the T-1000, Arnold gets his arms stuck in this huge wheel, but that's not going to stop him as he pulls away, ripping off his mechanical arm. Pretty cool little moment there, but whoa. Just after he rips the arm off, and you can see the twisted metal stump, what's that behind it? That, ladies and gentlemen, is Arnold Schwarzenegger's real arm, not so skillfully concealed in a cloth covering. Wow. I guess he just wasn't willing to go method.
Chill out, dickwad.
Okay, so the infamous, obvious stuntman shot has now been redone with a digital face double for Arnold Schwarzenegger in both this shot and also the moment when the Terminator jumps the ramp down into the river, which, by the way, is a pointed edge from the Terminator's perspective and a much wider, flat edge when he jumps off it. But nevertheless, in the original film, I think a prosthetic mask was put on the stuntman. I mean, it looks pretty decent. It fooled me on VHS, but this has also been replaced. And as for the mistake when the Terminator's arm gets ripped off, that has also been digitally corrected for the new release. And hey, at least Cameron is using digital trickery to fix continuity errors in his films, as opposed to a certain other director who actually likes to create continuity errors when he fiddles around with his. Number 1. The one mistake I just had to put in the top spot was from this scene in the third act of the film. Watch a little bit of this moment when the Terminator is walking out to face down the SWAT team and see if you spot something, or someone, out of place.
Down to the floor now! Okay, drop him!
If you didn't catch it, I'm about to point it out to you. If you look behind the SWAT team, you can very clearly see a crew member casually walking into shot. And I'm not hearing any of this, oh, it could be another cop or a SWAT member. No. This is a guy in street clothes, super casually walking up to the window and peeking through. What was he doing there? I mean, as always, these things don't harm movies in the slightest. They're just goofs. They don't really matter. But I am shocked, genuinely, that a perfectionist like James Cameron didn't spot this guy and absolutely lose his shit over him wandering into the shot. And especially now that he's going back and digitally correcting some of these mistakes, that he didn't spot it on a rewatch and remove the guy. The likelihood is this was probably a second unit shot and Cameron just simply missed it, but I still can't get over the amazing fact that a crew member, or just some random guy, I don't know, popped his head round the corner to take a look at the filming of a scene in Terminator 2 and casually got himself into the movie. Brilliant.